Hello, a good day to all of you. We are from Group 13 and we'll be presenting the manufacturing process of exercise books. I'm Manit Kapil. So to begin with, we have the criteria here. This is what we'll be discussing about. Um, so these are the key life cycle stages. The ones mentioned in red are out of our system boundary, so we won't be considering much about them. And for the ease of content breakdown, I have combined several similar steps and then compiled them as well. So first of all, we have debugging and chipping. So what is debugging and chipping? This is the process where the bulk of the logs are stripped away from it since they can't be used. The debug logs are then chipped down into very small pieces for the ease of handling. So the stakeholders involved are mainly factory workers and laborers. They carry out the heavy tasks in this process. So how is it done? This process is carried out with the aid of a wood debugging machine, but in Sri Lanka it's also often done manually. So next we have pulping and drying the pulp. So the debug cloths contain a chemical fiber in them called lignin. If the paper has more lignin in it, then the strength will be lower. Therefore, the pulping process is done to break down the lignin. The pulp is a thick gum-like substance. The wet pulp is then later dried to remove its wetness. So who are the stakeholders involved? Mainly factory workers, machine operators, and laborers. They carry out the heavy tasks in this process and give aid with the mechanical work. Chemists also contribute with the chemical reactions taking place. How is it done? It's generally accomplished through a grinder machine and machines called rollers. Next, we have wiring and pressing. The resulting thick pulp contains some amount of fibers. Wiring is done to spread it out evenly and form sheets. Afterwards, the pressing process is carried out to squeeze all the remaining water content. So, who are the stakeholders involved? Mainly factory workers, machine operators, and laborers. They carry out the heavy tasks in this process and give aid to the mechanical work. So, this is generally accomplished through a grinder machine and machines called rollers. Next, we have drying, bleaching, and calendering. So what is this process? Firstly, the sheets are dried at high temperatures for ease of handling, and then it is bleached with chemicals and calendered. These are steps that add final touches to paper to improve its whiteness and smoothness. You can say they are somewhat of a optional step, I guess. It's done to increase the quality of the paper overall, yeah. So who are the stakeholders involved? Mainly factory workers, machine operators, and laborers. They carry out most of the tasks in this process. How it is done? The drying process is done by cast iron cylinders, while bleaching uses mainly chemicals such as chlorine and other disinfectants. So we have cutting and making of exercise books. After all the aforementioned tasks are done, the paper is available in stacks of reels. The paper is then cut into pages and sent to the next process for a cover page to be added and to be converted into exercise books which can be used by consumers. So who are the stakeholders involved? Laborers are the main stakeholders here. Factory workers and machine operators also help with this step. How it is done? The cut paper is sent into an automated cow binding machine for the final step. So now afterwards, we have the final product, exercise books. Now the exercise books created won't be of any use if you don't distribute it. So next we have transport and usage. So what is this process? Now the exercise book is available as a product. It is then transported to stores to be distributed for consumer use. The consumers then use the exercise books for their day-to-day activities. So who are the stakeholders involved? The main stakeholders in the transport process are the drivers. Consumers such as the teachers, students are the main stakeholders in the usage stage. How it is done? The books are transported to stores throughout using trucks and other modes of transportation.
Hi, I'm SLIIT. I will be explain the manufacturing process of exercise books. This paper manufacturing process, first step is cultivation and chopping. Second step is transportation. And then debating we remove the unusable bark. It is third step in this process. Next, the wood is cut into small pieces. It is we call chipping. It is fourth step in this process. Then fifth step is pulping to break down the chemical fibers. The sixth step is in this process drying the pulp. Wiring as the seventh step is this process. And next pressing. It is eighth step in this process. Drying is done as step 9. It mainly removes the remaining water. Next step is bleaching and calendaring. It is 10th step in this process. Cutting is next step in this process. And then making of exercise book. It is 12th step in this process. Distribution is the last step in this process. This is the system boundary that we encounter in our manufacturing process. Process steps such as debaking, chipping, pulping, drying the pulp, and etc. were considered with the system boundary. But cultivation, chopping, and transportation of trees were excluded from the scope of alternative system due to their high level of uncertainties. And next, I will be explain the functional unit. Option 1. The discharge of paper waste during the paper manufacturing process is 0.015 tons per ton of paper. Option 2. 0.19 metric tons of carbon dioxide is emitted per metric ton of produced paper. Option 3. 24 trees are felled to produce 1 ton of paper in paper manufacturing. So, option 1 can be suggested as the best functional unit, as a functional unit can be calculated precisely. It is an easier quantifiable feature. The other option is ambiguous to measure accurately. Moreover, option 1 is ecological. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Adila. I'm doing task 3. Now I'm going to talk about all the inputs and outputs in all the processes in the production of exercise book under the system boundary. Moreover, I'm going to categorize those inputs into renewable and non-renewable. First, in the process of debarking, chemicals such as sodium hydroxide, water and electricity, which is hog fuel, will be inserted. The primary output during the process is debarking wood, which consisted lignin and other wood waste, which is considered as solid waste as well, and wastewater will be released during the process. In the next process of chipping, electricity is inserted. Due to the process, solid waste such as wood waste and dirt will be produced. In the next process of pulping, steam electricity, chemicals such as sodium sulfide, water, and wood waste such as sawdust is inserted. The process will be held in high temperature and pressure. Due to the process, air emissions such as system blow emissions, solid waste such as chemical waste like self compounds, and liquid waste such as wastewaters will be produced. In the next process of drying the pulp, water and chemicals such as calcium carbonate and kaolin clay will be inserted. Heat is inserted during the process as a vapor pressure to remove the wet pulp. Due to the process, solid waste such as lime mud, sawdust, and dregs will be produced. In the process of wiring, the mixture of pulp, fiber, water, which is used to distribute the fibers evenly, chemicals, and electricity are fed. Due to the process, solid waste such as fibers and liquid waste such as contaminated water will be produced. In the next process of pressing, chemicals and energy such as steam, electricity, and heat are inserted to unwater the remaining components using pressure and heat. Due to the process, solid waste such as sludges and fibers and liquid waste such as wash water will be produced. In the next process of drying, electricity is produced in partial pressure and water is produced in vapor pressure. a high temperature will be given during the process. And due to the process, yeah, emissions such as evaporation emissions and solid liquid waste such as condensate and ashes will be produced. In the next process of bleaching and calendaring, chemicals such as bleaching agents and water will be inserted. Pressure will be given during the process of calendaring. Due to the process, yeah, emissions due to excess heat and solid waste such as bleaching waste and chemicals will be produced. In the next process of cutting, electricity and steel which is used in cutting blades will be given. Due to the process, yeah, emissions and solid waste materials are produced. In the next process of making of exercise books, electricity, water, and chemicals are used for various procedures. Due to the process, yeah, emissions due to chemical excision and solid waste such as paper waste and non-biodegradable waste and liquid waste such as wash water is produced. When we categorize those resources as renewable and non-renewable, water, energy, the mixture of pulp, chemical compounds, and wood waste come under renewable, and chemical energy, chemicals, electricity, and steel stay under non-renewable.
Hello, my name is Kavish, and I am explaining about the environmental, social, and economic consequences of inputs and outputs during the manufacturing stage. Environmental consequences. The generation of solid waste happen in process of debarking, chipping, pulping, cutting, and making of exercise waste, and liquid waste generated in pulping process. Water pollution, air pollution happen in process of debarking, pulping, wiring, and pressing. Air emission happen due to the usage of chemical substance in process of drying the pulp. Also, from all of these steps, greenhouse gas emitted to the environment. Deforestation can be happen due to the step like debarking and pulping in chipping, soil erosion, and disruption of animal habits. Social consequences. In the process of debarking, there are health hazards for workers and potential job loss due to the automation. Similarly, in chipping and pulping processes, health hazard and disagreement over resources are common. Mass-scale chipping can harm poor farmers dependent on trees. In drying, pulping, and pressing, health hazards are common. Workers may face job displacement during pulp drying. In the pressing process, laborers may feel insecure due to their lack of literacy regarding improved machinery. For bleeding and calendaring, the chemicals used may pose risk to workers and nearby communities, impacting respiratory and skin health. In the cutting and making of exercise books, accomplish occupational health hazard, working condition, and cultural heritage are affected. Climate changes contribute to poor health, adverse weather conditions, loss of livelihoods, and damage to agriculture land, leading to food shortage. Economic consequences. Economic consequences in process, debarking, shipping, and pulping increase in cost of production. Waste management cost also in process of drying the pulp. Wiring and pressing, high energy cost. Maintain cost of machinery and waste management cost are common. In process drying, high initial investment in drying equipment, investment in drying equipment and technology. Also in process drying, bleaching and calendaring, and cutting and making of exercise books. Lot of income due to waste, high raw material cost and waste management is common. Repair and seasoning. and conclusion. In this presentation, we presented about the manufacturing process of exercise books, the cycle stage, and the flow diagram of manufacturing process, system boundary, functional units, and then categorized input and outputs. Then after categorized into renewable and non-renewable. Then environmental, social, economic consequences of manufacturing process were presented above. Thank you.